Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. We have reached our 1 year anniversary with Famous When I'm Dead. And I started the first interview with Jensen exactly a year ago. And this interview is a special interview because I'm interviewing AJ again exactly a year later. And it's not necessarily focused on fine arts, but we talk about more personal issues. We talk a bit about the podcast, and it's much longer than the other interviews. So I just want to thank everyone for the support for this last year. I've had a lot of great patrons. I want to call them out by name right now. Lars Eric Robinson, thank you very much. Chance McGee, Darren Kennedy, Joan Fleming, Alfred Reed. I want to give special thanks to Manny Abatizian. Even my Uncle Tom is helping out, and my sweet mom, even my sweet old mom, has become a patron. So thanks, Mom. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. Here's to another year. I'm sticking with it. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to try to make it a little bit looser and more personal, and try to make the interviews a little bit more organic this next year. I have some ideas about doing live streaming and a few other ideas that I'm excited about. So I'll keep everyone posted. I love you guys. Enjoy the episode.
Let me move this microphone up.
AJ Eyeballs Jensen, everybody.
How you doing, buddy?
I think I made a joke about your eyeballs last time.
They're there.
They're there, and they're scary.
They're scary.
You have vampire eyes.
Dude, I'm liking this like new little background you got going on. That's dope.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Did you paint the walls?
I did.
Yeah.
I have a corner. It's like my podcasting corner.
That's dope. I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Cool. When'd you do that?
I've done probably like 4 interviews maybe with this background, maybe 3. So just recently.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It's been 1 whole year exactly today. I looked at the stats. It was exactly May 18th, 2020.
We're doing it right on the same day.
Right on the same day.
Look at us.
In fact, hold on a second. I'm gonna. We have this. This is a thing that I think it's British. It's just a British thing. It's called a cracker.
Okay.
Have you seen these?
No.
No. Okay. Hold on.
I've heard of a cracker before. I mean, I've been called that once.
Happy birthday to. Forget about the dog. Let's do it. Oh man, he's crazy.
I'm scared. I'm a little terrified.
All right, here, grab it.
If I see your whole arms go off, what do I do?
1, 2, 3.
That was kind of
Did that work really well?
Stop it. Come here.
Here.
Edit button. Come here. Yeah, and then they have these like stupid little gifts on the inside.
It's got a joke. Do you want to read the joke?
Did it blow up?
Okay, here's the joke. Here's the joke inside the cracker for the 1 year Famous When I'm Dead anniversary. You ready?
Yeah.
What do you call a lamb covered in chocolate?
No idea.
A candy bar. I don't think I get it.
I don't either. That don't make sense to
Oh,
me.
it's supposed to be a candy bar, but candy bar.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and then in all the crackers they give you this little
crown. It's a Christmas cracker. Christmas.
Yeah.
You look adorable.
There you go.
All right.
So happy birthday.
Have fun, you two.
Happy birthday. I guess. Well, yeah. I guess this was the first one you did was with me, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is the 40th interview now.
40th?
Yeah, I was trying to do one every week, but that didn't work. But I released
It's tough.
Let's see, I looked at the stats. I released like over 70 videos in the last year. So yeah, and in the last year, 8,390 views and 703 subscribers. So those are the stats from the last year.
They're just going to keep going up.
We'll see.
Well, the more work you put into these kinds of things, the more consistent you are, and you've been pretty consistent, the better people get to see it.
Yeah, it's I gotta do some like searching, like some self-searching on why I'm doing it and what my motives are and where I see it going. I know for sure I like to interview artists and, I like to keep my network kind of alive, but yeah, we're gonna have
Well,
a
what do
baby
you think
soon.
your like main goal? Like, where do you want to see this in like 5 years?
Yeah, that's the question. And I don't have a solid answer to that, so I need to like definitely figure that out,
Well, do you think the satisfaction of just doing what you enjoy about just interviewing artists can make you feel content right now?
It can. There's a little, I think the biggest thing that I kind of fell back on in this last year was like I, I thought like, okay, this needs to have like a brand. Like this needs to have a specific brand, meaning like, okay, I need to put it into like this time frame, like an hour, and I need to like focus on these specific things. And I tried to kind of fit it into a certain like parameters, which I think is fine, but maybe the parameters were a little bit too tight because like I remember our first conversation was like really loose, and let's see, how long was it? I have it up here. It was 2 hours and 4 minutes. So and like it was pretty relaxed.
Hi. So I just don't get what you're saying. You want more of a relaxed feel, is what you're trying to say?
Well, I guess the point I'm trying to make is like when I first started off, I didn't really know anything, so I was just talking to people, and then
Uh-huh.
I started like working things into it, but then I think maybe it got a little overworked.
It wasn't as organic as it used to be, is what you're trying to
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And especially when I put it in the hour-long time frame, like it's just hard to have like a relaxed conversation in an hour, especially if you don't know somebody, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I think also, and I hate to crap on artists, but there's very few that have like a very
I hate to crap
outgoing
on artists, but let me go ahead
personality.
and take a shit.
But you get what I'm saying. Like a lot of them are really closed off, reserved, very introverted. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of creative people are really just contained in themselves, which is a good thing. But I think it's hard to break that barrier sometimes with certain artists. It's like usually when you have a conversation, it's like back and forth, like throwing a ball, like you and me are doing right now. Like I have the ball, I'm going to throw it to you, and we're going to have some balls in our mouths. But it's more
Speak for
organic.
yourself, man.
I think you're married now, so I can't say that. And you got a kid, right?
The baby is coming this Saturday as the due date, man.
This Saturday? Are you scared?
I don't know. I don't think I'm scared. I'm not scared to like be a dad. I'm scared that like Kate's is gonna explode. You know,
You're just
I'm
worried
scared that
about her
like
well-being?
something is like I'm scared for the baby's health. Like I don't really have much reason to be, but I guess COVID. But I'm scared for that.
I think that's normal. Are
Yeah.
you afraid it's not yours? Has that gone through your head?
Yeah. Kate has a friend who her let's see, it's a friend like that she grew up around, but they had they have there's a biracial couple, and they
Uh-huh.
had one child that's like mixed and then the other child's like totally white. And I doubted that for a long time, and I finally did some research on it, and it turns out that like happens kind of frequently.
Huh.
Not frequently, but it happens.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I talk to a lot of guys that are about to have kids, and almost every single one has that like insecure thought just go through their head. Like, is this mine?
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them
That's
do.
weird.
I think it's hilarious.
It is pretty hilarious because then like that automatically assumes that you think your girlfriend or your wife has been screwing around.
That and just like I think men are very scared of those kinds of responsibilities. It's just like a sudden life change. And I think in a small part of your brain, you're trying to figure out a way out of it. So
Yeah.
you're like, hey, if it's not mine, I'm good. And then it's like that damn show. It's like, you're not the father. And then, whoa, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Oh man, they were so happy too. Remember
Yeah, I
that? They're
know.
like,
I'm
oh
free.
shit.
That's pretty bad, though. Imagine being a mother and then, like, you think it's that guy, and then he screams and cheers and runs out, like, super happy. Like, how bad am I of a person to have
Yeah,
somebody just
yeah.
escape that suddenly? That'd be pretty bad.
Yeah, I actually had like I would call it like maybe this is too extreme of a word, but it's like an ego death, I guess is the best way I could describe it. Like there were, because our ego, this is the way I kind of understand it, is like as we grow up, we take on these ego characters, so like I'm the caricature artist and I'm the college educated, I'm like the American, I'm the brother, I'm the husband, blah blah blah, it goes on and on and on. So all of these characters make up my ego. Well, one of those characters is like the suave guy and the guy that's like out dating and like the ladies man, and
Hmm.
like the possibility of like more female partners, so
Yeah.
like that part of my ego, like it had to die, because
Yeah.
I'm going to be a father now.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we're gonna have a daughter, so like I'm already immediately like noticing things in my mind. Like I'll have a dirty thought or something. I'm like, wait a minute, you're gonna be a father to a daughter. Like you got to
Hmm.
be way more. It changes you. It like forces you to like have higher morals
Yeah.
around like
I think that conversation needs to
the
happen
connection.
between men a whole lot more than we're having, to be totally honest, because I think we're not honest why we're built like that and why we're having those kinds of thoughts. I struggled with it 100%. I mean, it's really hard to just be committed to one person for the rest of your life. And then that expectation of, no, I'm never going to have those thoughts, I'm not going to find other women attractive, and it's almost like fulfilling a prophecy that's not never going to come true, and then you feel guilty about it because you're just like, well, I have an expectation on myself not to be that kind of character, as you're going to say,
Hmm.
because when you take on the father role, you can't be that guy. But in reality, I think we're always going to have those thoughts. I mean, we're going to be 80 and still horn dogs, to be totally
Yeah.
honest. I feel like that. But to keep those kinds of emotions in check and have those kinds of conversations, I think that's what men need to do more often, I think so. I mean, it's very vulnerable to admit that, hey, when I find a woman sexually attractive, it's wrong to, well, it's not wrong, it's just wrong. It's wrong to it's wrong to have those kinds of thoughts when you're committed to somebody else. But in retrospect, it's not. It's normal. You get what
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
because it's an instinctual thing. It's not like you're like I'm gonna think about sex now. It's
Yeah.
not you don't like consciously
Yeah.
do it,
Yeah, it's all around you at once. I think the older I get, the more I'm like, you know, eh. But yeah, that's something that I struggled with a lot, especially like 2 years ago. Because I think I was always very insecure with myself. I mean, I didn't leave the house for 7 damn years. So nobody like,
Whoa, I didn't know that went on for 7 years. Holy
about
cow.
6 or 7 years, yeah.
Wow.
So
Well, we're
my,
glad you came out because we like you.
I'm glad I came out too, baby. Um,
there's a cultural shame thing to it too. Like even now when I just said it, I'm like, oh boy, I might have some whiplash on this, I might have some snapback on this. So
I
I think that
agree.
like to be able to like admit that stuff, I mean, this is an art podcast. I guess we're not going to talk about like the biopsychological like patterns of male testosterone, um, but yeah, I mean, we definitely there should be like a discourse. The discourse should be like allowed without shame.
Yeah, I think that too, and I'd rather people be honest about it than try to contain it and not admit that that's a issue. And it builds up and builds up, and then I feel like men just don't hold each other accountable for those kinds of things. Just
How would they hold each other accountable?
I just think these kinds of conversations are going to help tremendously. I honestly do, but it's hard to open up that kind of vulnerability between men. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just sitting down and have these conversations. There's still a part of my brain being like, just make fun of each other. You know?
Well, there's another thing too that I notice with, I guess there's like I guess it's an uncomfortableness or just like an emotional immaturity kind of thing among some of my male friends where instead of coming out and saying, I'm struggling with like these sexual urges or whatever, or like, you know, like Googling over women. So anyway, like instead of them like opening up and just using regular language and talking about it candidly, it's like I was with a friend today and he like hot women were walking by and he's like, "Oh yeah, look at that one. I like the way her ass looks like this, and it's like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, me too, but like is there something else you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Like do you
No.
want to talk about it in a more like mature, direct way, or do you want to just like play high school?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, I think I think that we don't understand the problems that lie in with keeping on taking those kinds of thoughts to another level. Um, I mean, if you're always thinking that way, you're not holding yourself so responsible, you know? You kind
If
of
you're
just
thinking in purely sexual terms, you mean?
yeah, just living on that kind of temptation prevents you from having more responsibility with how you feel about yourself and what you need. And at the end of the day, I feel like
Mm.
everybody just doesn't want to be alone. I think that's what it is. It's a stem from, it's sexual desire to sexual fulfillment to wanting that person. And then where does that go from there? And I feel like the reason why we have those urges is just because we don't want to be alone. I mean, we're grown up in a way where we're not, I mean, when we're kids, we're not really alone. I mean, we
Hmm.
always have somebody caring for us and
Hmm.
pretty much babysitting us. And then we have friends. I mean, some of those friends disappear, but the thing that I know I want is just when I'm dying, I need somebody by my side to hold my hand. And just how I came into this world about being next to somebody, I want to go out that way. And I don't
Hmm.
think we're men are traveling down that kind of thought pattern of being like, I need somebody. I need a partner. I need somebody to boost me up. And when I'm down in the ground and there's nobody else that wants to be around me, that person's going to be around me. Because your parent, I mean,
Hmm.
some people don't have parents, but some people I think take family, they just don't appreciate it. The idea of not being alone, you know?
Hmm.
No. I
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
been
I
thinking
think,
about that actually for the past couple of weeks. It's just like why do I want to date? Why do I want to be married? And it's like it's a pain in the ass.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
dating is a big pain in the ass.
It
In
is.
fact, there's a lot of times where I'm like, God, I'm glad I'm married because it was
Oh,
like such a hustle,
yeah.
you know?
And
And
it's always
especially,
putting
I mean,
yourself out there, getting rejected, you know?
yeah,
I don't know how people do it. I couldn't.
we got together. We started dating before Tinder came out too. So like now the scene's totally changed, It's
Mm-hmm.
like free for all.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, I mean this topic about like not wanting to be alone, that's I've been reading a lot about, fatherhood and childhood, and I'm into that kind of stuff anyway because of my recovery and all of that. So
Hmm.
I've always kind of like looked pretty deep into that topic about like, early childhood development and how early traumas can, affect your adult life. And basically like the reality is like the first 3 years of your life, you don't remember things explicitly. You only have like a general idea of like what the world is like based on what those first 3 or 4 years are like. And if you experience someone abandoning you or hurting you, or you watched your parents physically fighting or screaming at each other, there's like so many things that can happen. Even when you're born, if you're like taken away from your mother too quickly, all of that stuff leaves this like overall impression. And then you grow up to an adult, and then you just completely don't trust any authority
Hmm.
figure. You
Hmm.
think that the world is out to get you, you
Hmm.
know? And it's really interesting how like adult behavior is connected to these like childhood things.
Hmm.
But
Well, I
yeah, I
don't
mean, the
think the
ultimate
world
thing
is
is
out to
like we don't
get
want to be
anybody.
abandoned.
Yeah. I just don't think the world is out to get anybody. I just think the world sucks. I mean, the
That's
world
going to
is
be the title of this
constantly,
episode.
I know, but I mean, the world, it's filled of pain, filled of pain and sorrow. I mean, it's not rainbows and butterflies at all times, you know? And
Hmm.
you need to accept that in some way, but you can make the best out of it. You can make those butterflies and rainbows. You're
Hmm.
capable of doing that, but the world isn't. You can't wait on the world to change for you. You need to do it yourself.
Dang, I think we should put in some John Mayer here, the
I think
clip,
so. Yeah,
waiting on the world to change.
I know.
It's a
I
good
know.
one.
But hey, back to the podcast thing because I'm still interested in it with where you're going with it and how you're feeling about it. Do you feel like kind of discouraged about?
Yeah, I do. There's discouragement there for sure because I feel like I put a lot into it, and I should start by like thanking everyone who is supportive,
Mhm.
like there's patrons that, Joan Fleming, Chance McGee, there's Alfred Reed, there's people who are patrons and supporting, and then people who are like, even people who make comments, they're super at that, like that really gives me a lot of fuel and encouragement. But yeah, man, I mean, generally, if I get if 500 people or 600 people watch it, I'm lucky if one person leaves a comment. So it's
Yeah.
kind of, I think, I think people who aren't creators and who don't dedicate their life to creating content or artwork or whatever, they don't understand that it's like you're pouring everything into that. And even like a little comment like, hey, I really like this part of it or whatever, even that's like huge. So that's where it's
It's
discouraging.
validation and kind of fuel to keep going is what you're trying.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like a confirmation that someone's actually listening, or not that someone's listening because I can see how many people watch it, and I
Hmm.
can look at the statistics, but that people care,
Yeah.
like they related to it, or they understood a point, or that made them think of this or whatever. I mean, it's ultimately about community and relationships, and if people aren't talking to each other, well, there's just no community. It's just someone's reading a newspaper basically.
Yeah.
So, but
I hear
anyway,
you.
that's yeah.
Um, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you need to revert back to why you started it and why you wanted to do it. And I think you're kind of you're putting expectations on yourself of where you want this to go, and the simplicity of the idea is just you enjoy talking to people. You enjoy hopping on a phone call and learning stuff from other people and kind of digging up a conversation in order for you to learn something, because I know you're very you're very willing to listen to what people have to say, and you're willing to change those kinds of things. I mean, I think that stems from when you were getting over your addiction. You knew you're not always right, and you had to listen to somebody, and you're like, I'm wrong. And I think that kind of change morphs you in a good way, and I think you have that. I think you need to just concentrate on you enjoying talking to people, and
Mm.
I think that kind of validation will come in time. I really do.
That's a
I mean,
really good
I think you do a
suggestion.
good job. I think that I mean, you've been crushing it, man. I know how hard this is. I mean, with that YouTube channel I used to do, it's a lot of work. I mean, I'm pretty sure
Oh
you got
yeah, but your stuff was like heavy. Man, you made like really highly produced videos.
I'm talking you
I
up
mean, that
here,
must,
Sam. Don't push yourself down and put me on a pedestal, all right?
yeah,
You
well,
do a
your
lot,
stuff
man.
was great.
I appreciate it, but your stuff is really good. You've crushed me on it because you've been doing it longer than I have.
Yeah, I've been just trying to stay careful not to get into like a burnout, and that's pretty hard because there's things that I want to do. Like I want to make a like for every interview, I'd like to have one or two just shorter clips. Well,
Yeah.
that's another hour and a half of editing,
Hmm.
and then our 2 hours, and then I also want to have like a blog because I'd like to put pieces of conversations on the blog. But man, it's just one of those things that
Why
it's
don't you
like.
get somebody to help you
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot actually, but the problem is I need someone who's enthusiastic about it, you know?
that wants to
And
do it?
yeah, I mean, there's been a couple people that expressed enthusiasm and they genuinely wanted to do it, but they just couldn't follow through with it because they have other obligations or
Yeah.
whatever, So,
I mean, it is,
yeah.
if you really think about it, it's a job that's not paying. That's pretty much
Yeah.
what it is right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But I
it
really
pays you off because you get to do something that you can look back on and be like, I did this. And I think that's very hard to pull somebody into it and them kind of have that same feeling because this is your baby at the end of the day, and then somebody to
Mhm.
come in and pretty much adopt that baby and have the same kind of love and care and just responsibility for it. It's kind of hard to find, but it's out there,
Mhm.
like the X Files. It's out there.
Oh man, I love that show.
I haven't watched that in a long time.
I want to say two things. One thing about the X Files, and another thing just bouncing off what you just said. I really appreciate that feedback, and I'm definitely going to do that. I know like coming up on this year, I've been thinking like, I got to make a shift, or I got to like, there's got to be something different in this next year, and I think that's what it is. I just need to go back to, like you said,
I
just
don't
like
think you
have a
need to shift. I don't, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think you need to shift. I just think that you need
No, you're
to,
not. You're
well,
not sorry.
no, I'm not, you damn asshole.
Like when people interrupt you and they're like, not to interrupt, but, and you're like,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but you're like,
I
yeah,
don't mean
yeah,
to
you did.
interrupt,
You did
but
mean to interrupt.
I did. I did. I think I'm just
So,
clarifying that I don't think you should make the shift. And I think that you should kill the expectation of where it wants to go and just enjoy having conversations with people and learning stuff because that's how you're built as a person. You're built to have conversations, learn from those conversations, and then look back on it's almost like a diary. You get to look back on it when you I know for a fact you probably sat there one night and like, I'm gonna look up this interview that I did with blah 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 blah. Right in the middle of the night. Have you ever done that?
no, not really. I don't go back and watch them
You should watch them.
unless I edit them. If I edit them, I watch like pieces of them.
I think
Yeah.
that you should just like lay down one night and then just like put some headphones in and just listen to it and then that's your validation for yourself. You're like, hey, this went good, or hey, this didn't go so good because I said this and this conversation went off in a weird way. Maybe next time I won't interrupt or like I did. Like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
X Files. That's what I was gonna say.
yeah, go for it.
We have not even brought up art yet. So, but we're not gonna for a second because I want to talk about the recent release of the all of the UFO footage and the admitting of the government and the Air Force that like they don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's
Have
weird.
you been following that?
I try not to dive into it too much because I think I'm still sensitive with the whole COVID thing. and then I know I'll latch onto it and just get immersed, and then the next thing you know, I have aluminum foil over my head. I know where my brain will go. It is kooky though. It's weird.
Yeah, man. I watched a 60 Minutes interview and it was like these two naval officers that they were flying a jet. And you could tell that like the one guy was so happy he could finally talk about it because it's been classified. And but anyway, they talked about like what happened and basically they like were flying and they found this like tic-tac shaped ship like over this area of seawater and all of the seawater was white. So they started like spiraling the plane downward toward the ship to get closer to it. And the ship like noticed that they were coming down and it started like spiraling its way up toward them. And they met and the ship was like right in front of their ship and they saw no wings, no nothing. It was just there. And right when they were like wondering, is this thing gonna like fire on us? Is it gonna like shoot us out of the sky? It like literally disappeared. It just was gone. It just
Yeah,
disappeared.
it's like a bee, like or just like something that just. Yeah, I would
Wow.
seriously shit myself if I was one of those pilots. I'm not gonna lie. I would not be a happy person.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what else comes out, you know? It's because there's a lot of people think that like maybe it's us evolved and then like we're
Yeah,
coming
time
back or maybe
travel.
like the whole well, maybe not time travel, but like maybe we're already advanced, you know, a million years ago, and we just like did a little simulation here on this planet to see like what the ape gene would, you know, what the gene
Yeah,
would look like mixed with
yeah.
apes, or you know, who knows? There's some like simulation theory and all that shit is all in
But
there, you
why?
know.
Why are they? Then the point is, then why are they in the middle of the ocean?
I think that if extraterrestrials live on the Earth, they live under the water.
Well, yeah, that's true, and that would freak me out. What was that movie, The Abyss?
The abyss, yeah.
Yeah, where I don't know if you've seen that movie, but you know when that girl like drowns and he slaps her? That was really him just hit what's his name? Not Ed Norton, but I don't know. He just literally slapped her. And they were like fought. They were pissed at each other. Watch that on
Was it?
YouTube.
Was that in the abyss?
Yeah. Yeah, because
Oh
she
shit,
the
I missed.
character
I don't remember that.
drowned and then they were trying to like resurrect her, I guess. And he was like upset, like, you wake up, you wake up, and just slaps her like 4 times, and he really slapped her in the face in the movie. And I was like, that's funny. And she was kind of pissed off. She's like, don't do that again. You stop.
So, what do you think? Did you see the Bob Lazar movie?
I watched the Bob Lazar podcast with Rogan, and that kind of freaked me out a little bit. I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole, man. Ignorance is bliss. I don't I don't want to keep on. Does that make sense? I just feel like I'd
Yeah.
be so immersed into it that I'll grow long hair and wear alien t-shirts and start tripping on acid.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
want to go
leave the
down that
acid out
road.
of it. You
I don't
don't,
want to go
yeah.
down it. I don't. I'll listen to it and then I'll sit down on the toilet and be like, I'm not gonna think about that right now.
All right. Well, we can change topics. Don't worry.
No,
The
no, no.
aliens
I
will
love
show
talking
themselves
about it.
soon.
It's just I don't want to go. I don't want to immerse myself into it because I know I'll become a crazy person. I'm already crazy, Sam. I
Well,
got the tendency.
let's talk about art and technology because like that actually kind of segues nicely into where technology is going just generally and then how art and creativity is going to follow that or how it kind of has to follow that. So there's a couple of topics around this. Um, there's NFTs, which is not maybe as interesting as like what's happening with AI and augmented and virtual reality.
Okay, I'm gonna
But
sound really stupid right now. What are these NFTs?
okay, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked because I think a lot of people don't know. But okay, it's I guess to understand like how NFTs work, you have to understand blockchain technology. And I'm definitely not an expert, but basically the blockchain is a verification system. It's like a digital verification system.
Yeah.
And each one of these blocks has verified information that's verified by the next block. So it's a way to like basically have open information, but also extremely secure and anonymous. And so anyway, we don't need to get all into that. Like essentially an NFT is like a digital asset, whether it's like a photograph or a video or a song or a document,
Uh-huh.
and you can attach a digital signature to that, which is verified in the blockchain, and it makes that object rare. So the idea is that, when you have a digital painting, you can make a million copies of that. But if you turn it into an NFT, then that means there's only one copy. Or if you mint 10 copies, you can mint 10, and then there's only 10 of those that are actually verified.
So it's basically like a crypto art piece, like a cryptocurrency art piece.
If you're referring crypto to like if by crypto you mean like a blockchain
Yeah.
token, yeah, that's NFT stands for a non-fungible token, meaning like it's a token that can't be like divided and split up. It's like once you mint it, that's what it is. It's minted to that art piece
Okay.
and it makes it rare.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing that like a crypto coin does, right?
Yeah, but you can break crypto coins down. Like if you buy Bitcoin, you can buy 1/100th of a Bitcoin. You don't
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
buy the
Yeah.
whole thing. But if you buy a non-fungible token, you just have to buy that token. That's it.
Gotcha. Huh.
So there is a lot of problems with it though, like there's people can take, like I can go on and take a screenshot of your work and turn it into an NFT and sell it and make money off that. And
Yeah.
I'm not actually the creator.
Yeah.
Then if you wanted to sell you can validate the same image on different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I could sell my NFT, but keep the image on my computer and make prints of it and sell that somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
So there's like all these problems with it. And also there's like technology problems with it as well. But
Well, speaking of crypto, I had my phone hacked and all my crypto stolen from me.
how much did you have?
No,
A lot?
no, I mean, it was $500. It's just $500. I mean, it's a lot to get stolen from you. I mean, even if it was like $50 or something, it would still hurt a little bit. But yeah.
You don't have your key?
Well, what
Your
happened was they went on my cell phone service, deleted my SIM card for my phone number, and then added their SIM card for my phone number. And then every time they went into like my Yahoo or something like that, they would just do forgot password and it would send them like the text authorization. Um, and
Whoa.
that's how they got into it. I couldn't use my cell phone or anything because it was just my SIM card was in the ether. And I had to call the cell phone company, and I was pissed. I was so upset, man. I had like 9 things going on that day, and then that had to happen. It's just like it was stressful. But yeah, lost some money out of it, and just got to move on,
Man.
take it on the chin. There's nothing I could do.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta let it go, detach. I
Yeah.
had a cell phone stolen from me when I was working in the Easter market here in Prague, and right away I had someone call it who was next to me, and the person picked up the phone and they're just like, "Hello?" Like nothing happened. And we're like, "Hey, this is my phone." They're like, "Well, I just bought this phone from somebody." It's like, it was stolen and then someone sold it to you. I'm like, "I'll give you twice what you paid for it. Just bring it back." And
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, okay, I'll come," and they never came. So, yeah.
Wow.
But I didn't lose $500.
I know. I suck.
Dude, that's not bad at all though. There's people that had bought like 100 Bitcoins
Yeah.
and like when that first came out and then they
Yeah.
lost the key later. I mean, that's a $500,000.
Dude, I have so one of the coordinators for one of these festivals we do, he has a friend that has like 15 Bitcoin, but he does not remember his password. So he's got like like more than $500,000. Just well, a lot more than that. I think $1 million or something. I don't know would 15 times.
700. It's about $750,000 he has.
Yeah.
He can't find his
Just sitting there.
password.
And he says he's going
Dude, that's
nuts trying to remember this password. That would suck. That would hurt.
it's not just the password though. Like you have it. Yeah, there's you can put it on what they call cold storage. Like you can put it on the ledger, and then
Mhm.
it can't be affected or hacked or changed or anything. It's like off of the exchange. But
Yeah.
I guess his is still on the exchange.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. I just know that he's trying to remember a password and hitting himself in the head trying to remember it every day. And I think that's kind of it's hilarious, but it sucks.
It does suck.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, if you could help him, you could say, "I'll help you figure out your password, but
Yeah,
you got
for
to
a
give me
finder's
5
fee.
Bitcoin."
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
finder's fee. I was telling him to go up to like hypnotherapy so they could figure it out for him and just get
yeah. But he
hypnotized
probably
to
didn't.
remember.
He probably doesn't remember it. It's like a weird password. Usually they're weird. The keys are like a bunch of strange numbers and words and stuff.
Yeah, but you can dive into your consciousness and remember.
You think something
I don't
that
know.
kind of obscure? I don't know.
Maybe. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, say you're a hypnotherapist, somebody says, "Hey, I'll give you a finder fee of $50,000 if you can help me remember a password." You're gonna do every single thing possible to remember that, help that guy remember that password.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Man, I'm
Like, you
surprised.
want
I
to
guess
twist your
he.
nipples? You remember it now?
I wonder like if he I guess he bought it like when Bitcoin was new and then he just like never wrote down the password or never put it in
I
his
guess.
computer or
I guess.
dude, it's got to be somewhere. I think that he's like probably searching for it under all that stress and he's not like just taking a breath and looking probably right where it is. It's probably on a folder on his laptop
You
that
know what I
says
find
like
hilarious though is every time, like when he explained the story, like me and Bobby were like trying to figure out how he could fix the solution, like find the solution, and then like I tell other people and they're trying to help them find the solution. It's like we care so much about this guy and we don't even know him.
we feel the pain, man.
I
We
know.
feel the pain. That's what it is.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the reality is, though, is like there's that I forget the name of the test, but the reality is like when they check in with people like 6 months after they win the lottery, they're like just their happiness level hasn't changed, and a lot of times they're like more miserable than they were before, you know.
Hmm.
So
I
yeah,
don't know what I would do if I made that much money.
I would start something. You know, actually, that was one of the rapid fire questions that when I was doing rapid fire questions, like what would you do? What would you do? What would you do if you had $1 million right now, like just instantly $1 million from Bitcoin or something?
I would try to figure out how to spend it all in one day.
Really?
No, but that would be really fun. Like if somebody said, "Hey, I'll give you $1 million if you can figure out how to spend it all in one day," I would buy an island.
That's a piece of cake, though. You could easily spend $1 million in one day. Yeah, you could buy an island or you can buy $1 million house.
I
What
know,
if you
but
had 20
do it
million?
buying an island, you're gonna have to close on the, you're gonna have to go through the
Yeah,
whole real estate process. So you got to get
yeah.
surveys and all of that
But
crap.
what if you had 20 million?
20 million?
Oh, yeah.
What would I do with it? Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I think I would be really overwhelmed and I wouldn't tell anybody. I don't think I would tell a single maybe Christina and Bobby and just a couple people. But I think I would get so burnt out and overwhelmed by everybody trying to get something out of me then. Because I know how I
Yeah.
am as a person. I know I like attention and how I like people paying attention to me. And then like
I
they
just got
would
an
use
image of
that.
you like being carried by like four strong men down the street with a yellow fluffy jacket on, drinking some champagne, throwing money.
That'd be great.
Like
But
a Macklemore video or something.
I don't think I think I would want it, but I think at the end of the day I wouldn't want it. It's weird. It would be like a witch offering you something, and there's definitely a consequence for it. There's a big
I mean,
consequence for that we're not thinking about.
there's the whole thing. Was it Richard Branson, I think, or was it the other guy? One of those uber rich guys. But anyway, the story goes is like this guy is out in the sea and he's fishing and he's just catching a couple fish a day and like taking them back to his family. And then this guy comes by in a bigger boat and he's like, if you bought like two boats or three boats, you could get this many fish. And he's like, okay, what would I do then? He's like, well, then you'd sell the fish and make a profit and buy more boats. And he's like, okay. And then it gets to like, a whole fleet of fishing ships. And he's like, okay, then what then? And he's like, well, I would do the same thing. I would just go home, feed my family, and hang out with my amigos. It's like
Huh.
you spend all that time and energy, like basically, building an empire to do the same thing you can do right now. You don't need $20 million to like spend time with the people you love and have fun and enjoy your time.
Yeah.
But
I think it's the
yeah,
thirst of legacy. You want to leave a legacy, and $20 million definitely helps you leave a legacy.
yeah, but what is that really? What is the legacy really? I think it
It's
boils
the
down.
illusion of having that kind of legacy. That's all it is.
It's the illusion of immortality.
Yeah, yeah,
It's us trying to escape death in a really clever way.
yeah. What is us being so like philosophical today? I like it.
Yeah, man. It all boils down to like that. I think they boil down like these like human motivations and fears. They all boil down to just a couple of things. I think we want to be unconditionally loved, and we're fucking terrified of the fact that we're gonna die, and we don't know what happens after we die. And we
That's
find
true.
all these clever ways to kind of like work around that. Like, I'm gonna leave a legacy. Well, guess what? 50 years, no one's gonna remember you.
That's what Eric was telling me that. He is all like, how everything that you do and everything that happens wrong in your life, it's not going to matter because 50 years from now, after you're dead, nobody's going to know who you are.
And even if people do know who you are, you're gonna be dead.
Yeah.
So forget, who cares?
It's a very nihilistic way of thinking, though.
Yeah, but it's freeing too. I mean, if you really accept that, then you just have to live in the moment. You just have to enjoy every moment.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get on board with that, with how he said it. It just freaked me out a little bit, and I almost started wearing a aluminum foil hat and believing in UFOs.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, we distract ourselves a lot from that. Like I think people spend a lot of energy and a lot of time in their life distracting from that fact, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's what we're doing constantly, just trying to distract ourselves.
I wish I would have brought home the mantra that we were using when I did this meditation retreat. It was like I remember the first time I read it, I actually laughed out loud because it was like you have this idea about meditation. You think that you're going to get some kind of spiritual enlightenment or you're going to like learn how to be calm or whatever. But like at the end of the mantra, it's like, um, I acknowledge that it's the nature of my body to sicken. It's the nature of my body to die. Everything that I love and care about will all, just like everything else, fade to dust. It's like this like really fucking terrible
Depressing
thing to
line.
read. It's like, ugh, I want my money back.
That's great. Hey, just so you
So
know, you're gonna die and you're not gonna like it, and everybody you care about is gonna die too. They're all just gonna be rotting corpses. All right, here's your invoice for $50. I hope
have
you
a nice life. No, it was on donation. It was the meditation center was on donation. But um, let's talk about AI and art. How
dude,
about that?
AI freaks me out, I'm not gonna lie too.
Have you heard of Absinthe?
No,
Well, have you seen the movie Loving Vincent?
no.
Really?
I don't
Oh
think
man,
so.
it's the only movie, the first and probably only movie ever to be made with all oil paintings. Every frame is an oil painting.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah,
Did you
yeah.
see
Yeah.
it?
I haven't seen it yet, no, but I know what you're talking about.
So it's awesome, but there's a new technology now called Ebsynth, and you can check it out. It's ebsynth.com, and it's beta. It's like the beta version, but basically you can take a clip and you can enter in like one or two keyframe paintings. Like you can do a paint over of the movie clip, and then you feed it to the AI, and it does all that for you. It like turns all of the frames into an actual painting, and then it gives you a video that's like moving painting. And that's actually, I have it on my Instagram, on my, I think that, yeah, that one's on my King Davis Art Instagram, the last one. I did a short clip from Pulp Fiction. But
Hold on.
yeah,
Let me look at
oh, you want to
this.
see it?
I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah, it's only 15 seconds long. Or
That's
no, it's
how
only
long I last. Hey yo.
8 seconds long.
Oh, well. How far back do I have to go?
It's the first, my last post.
Okay. King Davis.
Black Thorn? He's bald? Does he look like a bitch? Say what one more goddamn time?
I love this movie so much. Okay, cool. So it basically just renders it as a painting, like kind of like a filter, I guess you would say.
What the AI does is it takes the image, the keyframe image, it analyzes all of the other, like you have to take the whatever footage and turn it into frames. So that's the first thing you have to do. And then you have to take one of those frames and paint over it. And then you feed all of the frames from that scene along with your keyframe that you painted over,
Okay. Okay.
and it fills in the gap.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. But that's a pretty, I don't know. I don't know if that's just one little piece of the AI monster that's growing right now. I mean, Manny was saying that Disney's been doing that for was it Disney? One of the companies that's doing animation, he said that they started doing those recordings of people's brushstrokes, digital brushstrokes, like 15 or 20 years ago. So
Huh. So
now
we're
there
all on
are,
the back end of it.
yeah,
Usually
so
what
now
happens.
basically like, a lot of animators will lose their jobs and stuff because of that. The AI will just be able to do it.
Well, I think that's the problem with AI, period. It's gonna take a lot of people's jobs. But I've been thinking, what can a human being offer that a robot couldn't?
Dance. Robots can't dance like people.
Dance?
Dance. They and acting, dancing, acting,
What about
that kind of
lying?
stuff. I mean, like our minds, we're right at the zenith right now. Like when you look at Moore's law, we're like right at the zenith. Like technology is just about to overtake the human
Yeah.
brain, like the processing power, but like the physical articulation is not there yet. Like the robot, I mean, you've seen the Boston Dynamic robots. They're
Hmm.
getting pretty advanced now, pretty like scary advanced, but they're not even close to like what humans can do. I mean, we can move in ways that robots can't move. So physical dexterity, it's going to take a while for robots to catch up, but not long in our lifetime.
What happens? Maybe this could be a movie. What happens if everything a human being can do is sin? Like every sinful deed. Only human beings can do that, and robots can't, and then we live a life of that, and then we're evil beings.
Wow. That was a big
And
leap.
that's how the apocalypse starts and
Oh,
Satan
so
forms.
so you're saying that like let me make sure I get you straight. So you're saying like in order for us to like be human, like we have to be the ones that are making the mistakes and doing the evil kind of stuff
Yeah,
because the
like
robots are like perfect.
yeah,
They never make mistakes.
yeah. Like that's the
Hmm.
only way to feel human is to be evil.
I think people like kind of do crazy shit just to feel alive. Like people do stuff that's kind of death defying so they can feel alive. So yeah,
Yeah,
I could see that happening. I could see people doing some fucked up stuff to try to feel human.
yeah.
I could see that happening, yeah.
And then we just go down the road of evil deeds, and then the apocalypse starts, and then all the demons are just us because we tattooed like horns on our heads, all this cool stuff. I'm sorry. I just love religion and its craziness.
I think that uh, the more the reality of it is like I think that a lot of the stuff that we're scared of is actually happening, but not in the Hollywood way that we think it's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Like what was that movie that came out with the virus and it was pretty when COVID happened, everybody was watching it. I forget.
Outbreak.
Was it out? No, not Outbreak. It had like Kate Winslet in it and it had a lot of good actors in it.
With
But
the monkey was
no,
spreading the,
that's Outbreak. That's with Morgan Freeman and
yeah.
but we have an expectation of how it's going to go. In reality, it was just all frustrating. Like I think at first the fear settled in. I mean, I thought we weren't going to do good. I guess because of the expectation of what I was taught about how crazy the world will go, and then all it really was yeah, people passed away and died. Like that wasn't a good thing, but the majority of things was just so political and frustrating that everybody was just trying to. I think what it was everybody was trying to attach to some kind of comfort, and that comfort was ignorant. And people would point them out on that ignorance, and then you would have to defend it. And then we were just in this everlasting cycle of just yelling at each other. Like people being like, you shouldn't leave the house. And then they're like, well, I think I need to leave the house because I think I'll be more comfortable. You're a monster. No, you're a monster. Because, it's just like this just chaotic conversation thing. And then Facebook didn't help because
Oh
people
man.
are stupid on Facebook. I'll admit I can be a moron on Facebook. I'll say some
You know
stuff
what
just to,
though? This is the scary thing about Facebook is like and the algorithms. I mean, you've probably seen the interview with Tristan, the guy who made The Social Dilemma.
yeah,
There's a short clip where he talks. It's on Joe Rogan. He talks about like how the YouTube algorithm is tilted, and basically like you can start with some really boring science video, and then if you stay on and follow the recommendations, an hour later you're going to end up in Crazy Town,
yeah,
and it's tilted that way because it gets more engagement. And I think I think there's the combination of the super powerful algorithm and the fact that people aren't aware at how malleable their brains and behaviors are
yeah,
together
yeah,
is like really dangerous. I mean, that's the scary thing for me, man,
yeah.
because if anybody is listening and interested in how malleable your brain really is, read the book Thinking Fast and Slow, and you'll understand then like how easy you are to manipulate, even if you don't think you are, especially if you don't think you are.
Do you think you're good at manipulating people?
Me?
Yeah.
Not anymore because I'm more honest with myself. When I was out using and stuff, oh yeah, I was like, definitely.
I think I can be one of the best manipulators ever, and I try to like keep myself in check. That's something I've been working on for the past couple of years is, yeah, like you said, being more honest and not lying and trying to tell the truth as best you can. Um,
You ever catch yourself lying on accident?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, why did I say that? And then I gotta. It's just like now I have to remember that for the rest of my life. So when everybody
No, you
brings it
just
up,
call it out, and it's funny actually. I've called myself out on a couple times, and most of the time it gets a laugh.
really,
Yeah, you
I'm
just
gonna
say,
do
I
that
just
then.
lied about
That is
that.
kind of funny.
It's
Like one time
ridiculous.
I had sex with a duck. I'm just kidding. I'm lying. I don't know why I said that. Like that.
Yeah, but that's a
That's an
obvious one. But I'm
extremity.
talking, well,
Yeah.
maybe not obvious for you, but an
No.
obvious one, but like there's lies where
I've never fucked a duck. Never
But-
done it.
Well, you haven't lived. But there's lies that are like that are designed to like puff us up, make us look smarter or make us look like oh man. There's like certain things in my vocabulary that I've added only recently in adulthood, which is like I don't know, you might be right. those two are big ones. I used to never say
I don't
that.
know is tough. Yes. And then maybe you're right.
Another one that I've been removing from my vocabulary is you should. Should. Just the word should.
You
Just
should.
taking that out of my vocabulary totally. Should.
Why?
Because it presumes that I know what's best for that person. Like I'm God. Like I know all of the information about all of the circumstances in that person's life, and they should do this. How do I know? That's arrogant.
How would you say it then?
Unless the person is like, there's a campfire, a bonfire, and they're like, I'm going to go ahead and walk into this campfire. And you say, you shouldn't do that. Aside from that, like, I don't have any business,
Then how would you say it instead?
I guess it depends, but usually what I say is like, well, I have some experience with that. Would you like to hear my experience with it? I've been asking permission a lot about like, well, do you want to hear my experience about that? Or would you like my input? I always get that permission first. But here's what it boils down to, man. People, if they don't want to hear it, it doesn't matter how loud you say it, they won't hear it.
Yeah,
Or they'll hear it in a way that confirms their own biases.
I'm trying to rethink about our conversation and how many times I used we
You
should.
froze on me. I lost you for like 3 or 4 seconds.
You got me? Am I back? Am I back? I'm trying to rethink about how many times I said you should in this conversation now, because I'm pretty sure I used it. Hey, you remember we were talking about you watching your videos again, just going back on them? You should do it with you should do it with this one. I'm demanding it because I'm God, damn it. That's tough. I'm gonna try it. I'll take some Sam King lessons and not say you should. Maybe I suggest. Is that better?
Well, the thing is I think the point is like if I don't have the exact experience or pretty damn close to the exact experience, then I really can't offer. Even then, that's not what that person's going through. Like even then, they have different people, they have different relationships, they're a different age than you are, they have a different socioeconomic status. There's so many differences. So even then, if it's the exact same thing, even then you're not really having the exact same experience. But at least at that point, you can say like, I had a really similar experience. Would you like to hear what I did? And then it's kind of like, then you give them a choice of like, you kind of like prep them. They're like, okay, this person's going to like maybe give me something I can use. But what I used to do is just steamroll. I would just be like, well, you should do this. And this is why. And I read this book and this, whatever, Mr. fucking mastermind,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's almost like we don't want to be wrong, and I think we're not attracted to people that know more. We're attracted to us knowing more.
Yeah, like here's another one. Here's another one that I try to remove from my vocabulary. Oh yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
Or if someone says, "Do you know this book or this author?" or the person saying something and they sound smart, and maybe I heard the author's name, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know them." I never read their book or anything. I just heard the name.
Is that when you point out that you lied? Oh yeah, I know them. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just lied to you. I just lied to
No,
you.
but I catch myself doing that. I'll be like, yeah, I know them, and then right away I'll just be like, oh, I don't really actually know their work. I just heard the name. Like I'll correct it. You know. But it's funny because like when you have like enough distance from your own ego and you're not like so attached to your ego, like you can watch it like you're watching a character on stage, you know? You're like, look at this clown, you know?
If you were to go back 10, let's say 15 years, would you want to beat yourself up?
Like with the knowledge I have now,
Yeah. Or
yeah, I
hey,
would.
better yet, would you go back in time 15 years from now and talk to yourself and say you should do this, that, and this and that and that? Would you break the rule then?
No. I mean, if I could convince myself back then that like this is the future me and I really could believe that, then then past me would listen to future me. But I would be skeptical. I'd
Would
be
you
like, I must
really?
have eaten too many shrooms, I think, to
Would
be
you
seeing
really
this.
believe? Would you really listen to your future self?
Maybe not though. Maybe not though. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing about our brains. Like
Yeah.
we think know, you
Yeah.
know? It's
Like,
like
yeah,
when I
that
was
dummy got it wrong. I'm smarter than him. He doesn't
yeah,
know what he's talking about.
this is a different
Oh,
timeline, bro.
yeah. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean that's another thing about modern culture that's much different than, let's say, the culture that our ancestors grew up in, meaning like before Western civilization. Like old people were like really valued, you know?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
They're
even when I was
demonized.
young, I was like, that old fucker doesn't know what he's talking about, you
Yeah, they're
know? He
so
doesn't even know how to
demonized.
send an
Yeah.
email, you know?
Yeah. I feel bad about that, not gonna lie. I think I I was having a conversation with somebody and we were talking about people in through history that are like really big time honchos. Were they smarter than us? And I believe they were. And he's like, I
What
don't
do you
think
mean?
so.
Like who? Give me an example.
Like Plato or um Attila the Hun are just back then.
That's a really interesting point, and I want to add to that point by saying it's not necessarily that they were so much smarter than we were. It's that they didn't have the superstition. I think like the lack of superstitious thinking makes people more intelligent and able to see things more objectively. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, so for example, like in, let's say in Britain, you know, in 200 years ago in Britain, they used to think that smells from trash would get you sick. They thought that like if you could smell something that was bad, it
Hmm.
would infect you and get you sick.
Hmm.
And they also had like a lot of religious superstitions. So, for example, like people today who are more scientific and less religious or don't have a lot of these superstitions, they're not necessarily more literate or more intelligent. They just don't have these superstitions like blocking them from the truth.
They're not conflicted with these superstitions, is what you're trying to say. They're not
Yeah,
confined
like
to thinking outside of the abstractly, I guess you would say.
yeah, like well, objectively, like
Yeah,
without
okay,
all
yeah,
kinds of
objective.
emotional subjective stuff. So it's like so instead of that person's a witch, like well, maybe that person's just a hippie that likes to eat mushrooms, you know? You know,
Or maybe
it's like
that Timmy over here wanted to sleep with her and she said no, and now he's really mad about it, so he's gonna claim she's a witch.
and get her burnt, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Man,
do think
why can't we
those
live back
guys were say again.
why can't
What'd you
we be
say?
back in the day? All those girls that rejected me, I could just be like, witch, she's a witch.
She's a witch. How do you know she's a witch? How do we know? Oh, she looks like a witch. Oh man,
It's not
that's
my
Monty
nose,
Python
it's a
Gold right
false one.
there.
I
But
think
man, I think
every guy likes
here's
that.
something about like about the Stoics and Plato and like the people who are like the modern kind of like not modern, but like the ancient philosophers.
What is that word? I'm trying to figure it out. I guess like figures. I don't know.
Philosophers?
I mean, yeah, there some of them were philosophers, but there was like big head honcho figures throughout history. What would you call that? Like Albert Einstein or just like these
Geniuses?
intellect, huh?
Genius?
Well, not genius, but like Walt Disney was a just somebody that's going to be remembered throughout time.
Legend?
I I wouldn't go that far with that word, but yeah, kind of like that. I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching it is screaming the word right now. But anyway,
Yeah.
um,
That's called audience engagement. Put it in the comment box for God's sake, everybody.
yeah, please comment it because I need to remember this word because I'm a Scientologist, and if I don't know a word, I have to look it up in the dictionary and remember it 5 times.
You know,
Okay.
my dad was a Scientologist.
No way. Let's
For
dive
real,
into
yeah.
this conversation.
I want to show you.
That's
I wanna
what's
show
wrong with you.
this
I get
print
it.
I have. Check it out.
Oh, nice.
You know who that is?
No.
That's Marcus Aurelius. We
Okay.
were talking about philosophers
Yeah,
and stuff.
definitely got the likeness down for that one.
We can talk about the Scientology thing a bit if you want, but
Are you okay with that?
yeah. Um, but anyway, the last thing about the philosophers, one of the things with Marcus Aurelius, for example, was he journaled like a lot. I don't know if
Yeah.
he journaled every day, but he journaled a lot. And the meditations, like the book Meditations from Marcus Aurelius, there were notes to himself, but they were like, dude, they're so rich. Just
Yeah.
man, for anyone who
And he
is
ruled the
interested
country
in
too at the
life,
same
wisdom,
time, right?
you what?
He ruled the country at the same time.
Yeah, that was the thing. He was like leaving notes to himself to like keep himself humble and to like remind himself
Huh.
to be like good and like and just and all that. And another great one, probably my favorite book on life, is called The Shortness of Life, and it's by Seneca. And that both of these books are free. You don't have to buy them. They're like public knowledge now. So public property.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me that. Hey, I gotta take a little break.
Have you heard of Drawsome.com? Of course you haven't, because it hasn't officially launched yet. But I have talked to Manny Abatizian, the founder, about it in detail, and it's gonna be awesome. The Drawsome app is an exciting new platform that's coming soon for artists and art lovers that is going to change the game. It's a creative social marketplace where artists can post their artwork, receive commissions, and even turn each post into a print-on-demand product that's drop-shipped directly to your customers. That means people can choose if they want your design on a print, mug, t-shirt, whatever, and you don't have to deal with the printing or shipping. You want some of that, don't you? Hop on over to drawsome.com, that's DRAWSOME.com, and sign up to be the first to receive updates and news as soon as it's launched in iOS, Android, and web. So why don't we do a little like check-in with, I mean, we can talk about Scientology if you want, but I'm not sensitive to it at all, so I'm open to it, but
Let's have like a 2-minute conversation about it.
okay, I'm gonna look at the clock now. All right, what do you want to know?
How long was he a Scientologist and in what year?
They scooped him up when he was 16 or 17. So he was really young when he joined.
So
Yeah.
it was still like cultish back then, right?
It's probably more cultish now.
I don't know. I feel like the smaller the group, the more cultish it is.
Oh, dude, it's weird. It's
I know.
so weird.
Is he out of it or is he still in it now?
Well, he died. He died when I was 16, and I actually think
I
that,
didn't even know that.
yeah, I think that he was alcoholic too, so that had a lot to do with it, and he had a rough childhood. But I think that in combination with the Scientology really it made him kind of it made him lose his mind a little bit. In fact, he was actually pretty high up. There's two sides of the church.
Yeah.
The church that
Yeah.
you can go. You can go up the side where you're like the one being counseled, and then the other side is you can actually be a counselor in the church. So he
Yeah.
was on the professional side of the church counseling people, and he even got like a signed letter from L. Ron Hubbard, and like he was like climbing the ranks pretty quickly. But he ended up, I don't remember exactly how he got out of it or what the details around that were, but he never like left the church necessarily. Like he never rejected it. Like he always kind of held on to it in a way, even after he left the organization. But it really kind of ruined him because he was like basically working years and years of his life for free,
Yeah.
like for counseling stuff. So,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll talk about that when we're in person a little bit more because that's so fascinating to me.
Yeah,
Just how-
man. I mean, we could talk about it in another interview. I actually want to have you on a little bit more often, like maybe, more often. I don't know how much, but I don't know how
I'm
much
down.
AJ I can handle, but
I know, not a lot. Ask Bobby. Bobby can only handle me for, I think his was 2 weeks maximum.
2 weeks living with you or what?
Well, we did, we went down to Florida together about 3-4 years ago, and we had one half a week and a half of a festival and then another week of a festival. But we also had to wait 6 days for the next one. So we were like living together for a while. And at the end of it, he was just so frustrated with me. It was great because you can't see Bobby frustrated, but I've seen it and it's great. Well, dang nabbit, man. Come on, man. Stop it.
What was it that was bugging him?
It was just like he had more of a short fuse with me, you know? Just like certain things I did would aggravate him. I feel bad for his wife.
For my wife?
No, for
Oh,
his
man.
wife.
Oh, okay.
Or
Well, you should
all
feel
wives
bad
in
for her
general.
too.
Like, I don't know. We're stupid. Men are just dumb. We say things that we shouldn't say, and we're not even thinking from time to time of how emotional repercussions could happen from just one word.
Yeah. Emotional intelligence is definitely something that needs to be taught to, especially boys in school.
Yes.
I want to talk about your stuff that you've been doing with these backgrounds. Let's talk about what we're doing artistically lately.
Yeah, let's do an art podcast.
1 hour and 20 minutes into the podcast, we'll talk about art.
Well,
That's how I'm going to start this podcast, by the way, with that clip. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to say, let's talk about our art stuff. 1 hour and 20 minutes into the podcast, we talk about art stuff. And then I'm going to cut to the beginning of the interview.
Yeah, we're just break it up into two.
People will have to fast forward to that if they want to hear about art. So let's talk about art stuff 1 hour and 20 minutes into the interview.
That's fine. The background stuff?
Yeah. You've been doing these cool backgrounds.
I mean, I've always wanted to do it. I think the reason why I wanted to do it was because I was looking on, there's an artist, hold on, Scott Willis. He did like the backgrounds for like Samurai Jack. And
I don't know Samurai Jack.
Oh man, you need to watch it. It's so good. It's like probably one of the best animated shows out there.
I should watch it.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
No, they have it on crap. I think HBO has it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was like an old Cartoon Network show. But there's no line work in the show. Yeah, and
that's nice.
It's animation wise, it's phenomenal. Story wise, it's pretty good too. They just they kick butt on that show, but the backgrounds on this show are just so simple but so unique, and the color scheme of them going on is just phenomenal. And I found myself late at night going through eBay trying to find like prints or actual, backgrounds that he did. And I'm thinking, why don't I just make my own? It's cheaper that way. So I just started playing around with it, and it just takes forever. I think I'm the kind of creative person that overthinks. Bless you.
Thanks.
I think I overthink things too much, especially
You think
creative
you
wise.
overthink?
Oh, I overthink a lot of things. And I think each piece took me like 32 hours, 24 hours.
Really?
Dude, yeah, it took a long time.
Whoa. They look
Well,
great though, man.
It was a lot of erasing and a lot of this isn't good enough, so I'll start over again. And I mean, I'm looking at this one right now, and I'm still thinking like how much stuff I wanted to change.
No,
But
no, don't touch them. Which one are you talking to? Which one are you looking at
you
now?
know that like winter scene one with the snow?
Okay, I'm going to it now. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, that one. Like I'm looking at it, and there's a lot of things that I wish I changed. You can see, that like little, I call them the shrines. They're like little shrine faces.
Uh-huh.
Like that was supposed to be a hill, and then there would be a middle and then a background, and that middle ground doesn't look as defined as it should. There's just things that I like
Oh,
look.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see what you mean.
it
Oh
just
man, I
kind of
don't
looks like
know.
one.
I wouldn't mess with that, man. It looks good.
I'm actually doing these paintings for, so I live in this uh small city in Georgia called Sugar Hill, but they're getting pretty big. Me and Christina just moved in together, and we're living in an apartment, and the downtown Sugar Hill is just like a walk away. And I've been
Is that
doing,
where you're doing live caricature?
oh, when I was on the barbecue, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I've been doing caricature work for them for the past 5 years. They've been hiring me for like events and stuff like that, which is really nice because it's a city. They have the money for it. But
Yeah.
they just recently hired me to do to paint their buildings. Am I saying that? Every time I say that, everybody thinks I'm doing murals.
Mural.
But I'm actually digitally painting their historic buildings. And I'm it takes a long time, and I think I'm having to get out of my head about not overthinking it so much.
Hmm.
But I'm also struggling with it looking too real. I'm
Hmm.
getting that feedback a lot. Like every time somebody looks at it, they're like, it looks like a picture, and like that kind of just like sets me off a little bit, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't want that.
I don't want it to look like a photograph. But yeah, I got 5 to do, and I've been working on that, and then also juggling the caricature stuff. We got 5 artists on our team now that are kicking butt, doing great. Um, and it's a lot of work to
On the
schedule them,
Toon
but
Heads team?
yeah, yeah. But
Nice. You guys are doing events or you're working for Sugar Hill still?
we're doing events and festivals, and we're only doing weekend festivals. I feel like the weekend stuff is good. It's cheaper, and it's also when we're set up there, we're probably the cheapest artist up there, and people are walking around seeing paintings for like $1,000, $500, and they're like, "And we'll just get some food from the food trucks." They get some food, and then they walk past our booth, and they're like, "Oh, I can have a custom piece of artwork of myself for 20-25 bucks. I'll do that." So we get really busy there.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
but yeah, last weekend we had 3 festivals going on at the same time. The week before that, same 3. Having people work for you is now a responsibility to find more work, and I think that's been very beneficial for me because I'm not slacking as much as I used to be. I knew there were certain
Man,
aspects in my business life where I needed to push myself.
I'm so jealous of you that you're able to like find people to actually draw caricatures. The culture of caricature in the US is much different than, especially just in Europe, but in Prague. Um, I mean, if you're really a professional caricature artist, you're probably working on the bridge, which I have a spot on the bridge.
Yeah.
And if you're working on the bridge, you're like an old dude that's been working on the bridge since the fall of communism, and you've gotten rich off of all of that, and now you're ready to retire. That's basically the scene here.
Yeah.
So if I want to do a festival or an event, or if I have like a big private event that I'm doing, I have to call Chance McGee. I get
Uh-huh.
to call Chance McGee. My friend whom I love, my brother Chance McGee. He drives down from Dresden, and then sometimes I work with Paul in Berlin. Well, I've worked one festival with him, but
Paul
yeah, I
and
mean, I have to
Volta.
like, they're not, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, Volta could come down as well and work events. She's come down and worked the Easter market with me. But the thing is it's like people just aren't living near me, you know? It's
Yeah.
like,
I
so
had the same issue,
yeah.
Sam. I mean, finding artists is very hard, and being a business owner and wanting to give people work, I keep running into the the problem of finding very talented people, but they're not professional, are very professional people, and they're not talented. So
Mm,
I've been having to pretty much train some of the artists. I've been
mm-hmm,
blessed finding every person that works on our team. I'm blessed to have because they're kicking butt and they're doing a good job. But we had to put them in shape for sure. Some of them in shape, even either creatively or professionally.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but that's it's just I guess that's the responsibility that you have to uptake when it comes to doing what I'm trying to do. I tried
Mm-hmm.
talking to other um, owners that are doing kind of this same thing that I am, and they say they run into the same issue. So it's like a phenomenon, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's been a lot of fun. Where I'm gonna take the company kind of in a weird direction. Me and Bobby have been talking about certain things that we're gonna do. I kind of want to imitate Iska a little bit when it comes to that, so there's more motivation there. Um, and they're
Oh,
getting
you want to get some competition going?
competitions, doing awards after each season of us working,
Oh, that's a good idea.
doing workshops for the
Mm-hmm.
artists. And I mean, the way I look at it, it's benefiting the people that work for me. It's benefiting artists that I admire, coming on and doing some workshops with them and paying them, supporting them, and then also tax write-offs. Doing some tax deductions because
Nice.
I have to do that now, especially with the real estate stuff and the caricature stuff and the HVAC stuff. I gotta figure something out.
HVA, oh, HVAC stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
that's been
you're a busy
slowing
dude,
down.
man.
That's slowed down a little bit, but it's probably going to pick up here in the future because the government is enacting another refrigerant that's more eco-friendly to go be put into law. But it's hilarious to me because they did that when Obama was president, and the refrigerant that they switched was like 1.5% better for the ozone layer, just 1.5, but they talked it up to think that it was going to help tremendously, and
Yeah.
it really didn't. And now they want to switch it again. So it's just going to be a constant thing of switching, and it's going to put a lot of people out of money because, they paid, $12,000 for a unit, and now they're having to switch it again. And it's going to cost more because not a lot of HVAC technicians are going to know how to use that refrigerant.
Well, let's circle back around away from refrigerant and get
Okay,
back
yeah, that's
to
probably a
your
good idea. Sorry, going on a rant about it.
what do you want to do with these backgrounds?
Honestly, I just want to keep them. I don't think things will come out of it. I mean, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, I still have something that I can be proud of myself. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier of having a diary about our lives. Um, I look back on these backgrounds that I did, and I'll remember COVID and that depressing era, and that's when I started working on all of them. It's just because I had nothing to do, and that kept me pretty occupied through that whole situation.
Well, let me circle back around to my favorite topic, me.
Okay, that's a good
The
topic.
background, thanks. I think so too. The backgrounds are cool. I love the way they look. It's so cool. Like it's cool that I can see your style in it too, and the textures and everything. And they have like a nice feel. It looks like a game background almost. But anyway, I'm studying motion design now, and I'm finishing up like a really intense 8-week course now on motion graphics and motion design. And I've been thinking about different people that I would want to collaborate with. Um, and these would be really interesting, but they would have to be vectorized or they would have to be broken down into layers or elements to animate.
Yeah,
Um, and if you had some characters, uh, I could animate characters in these scenes too.
yeah.
So that would be fun. I don't know what we would do with it, but maybe we'd have like a little 30-second story or something inside these environments. That would be fun.
One thing I was wanting to do back in the day was buying mass amounts of LED or, well, basically screens that you could put animation on and do a little animated 10-second clip that just loops and
Uh-huh.
frame that and
Uh-huh.
sell those at art festivals.
Uh-huh.
I know I'm but just like throwing out my idea that probably could be like $1 million idea because I'm a genius. But I think that would be
That's
really
what
cool. Could you imagine
that's
going up
what
to like an art festival and seeing like framed animation just repeating over and over again, and you get to hang that in your wall and it just runs off of batteries or something like that? That would be really nice.
that's what Beeple did with the NFT, the guy who sold the $65 million NFT. He
Oh,
did
really?
that. There's these things that you can buy that are like they're almost like the baseball card. Like you know how the
Yeah,
really expensive baseball cards that they would press them between plexiglass? Well, they did that with like screens and they're, you can plug them in and charge them, but they're basically like little screens in plexiglass and they have like a looping animation and you can buy
that's
those. I
dope.
don't know what company does it, but anyway, he sold those as like with like verified NFT tokens with each one of the pieces that he sold. But yeah, you could certainly do that. It would be cool. Like even this unicorn that you have is pretty cool. Like if you sent me a file that had it maybe in a couple of different poses and you sent me the layers, like the layers of the rainbow fart and like the backgrounds and stuff, I could animate all that stuff. That'd be awesome. That'd be a cool project.
Yeah.
But this it's all like you did it in Procreate.
Yeah.
You could still send me the layers as separate layers.
Well, the problem that I have is at the end, I gotta quit doing it, but at the end of each piece, I'll form all the layers together like an idiot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that would be fun. One thing that I
Yeah,
feel like
well,
I'm struggling
once
with
I
right
get
now,
finished with this, I think you're frozen. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
I, yeah. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I mean, at the end of when I'm finished with this final project, if you wanted to collaborate on something, it would probably be pretty slow. I'd only be able to put in, maybe an hour, you know, 2, 3 hours a week or something. But we could start off with something really simple. Like if you sent me the unicorn with different layers, I could make it like flying across the sky with like the rainbow
That'd
rocketing
be
out of
cool.
its ass and like maybe some glitter and shit like that.
Yeah,
So
that would be cool.
it might be fun.
I think one thing I'm running into a problem with right now is juggling between being business oriented and still creative. I'm trying to find that
Hmm.
balance right now. Because I
Hmm.
don't know if you experience it, but do you feel guilty like this overwhelming feeling of just like I'm slacking in being creative? Do you ever get that?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, and
you could be like at a party or something having a good time, and then you'll like look at somebody and be like, I want to draw them like this, and then you just get this like just feeling of like I've been slacking on being creative, and I haven't thought like this in a long time, and I don't know. That's what's been going on with me for the past couple of months, trying to find time to either work in a sketchbook or do something digitally. Um, and I don't know. I want to get to a place where this company, this caricature company, me and Bobby are doing, because we're still trying to connect all the dots and resolve issues that we're running into. But I wanted to get to a spot where it's kind of it has to be managed, but it's still flowing if I leave it alone. Does that make sense?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you want to automate things as much as possible.
Yeah. And I think
You
that's going to
know,
take some time. But
it's interesting, like all of the stuff, the different stuff that you do, because I think your brain and my brain kind of work the same way in that, like, I like to think that if I just had one thing I could focus on, I would do really well at it, and I could if I could stay focused on one thing, but I would get bored too quickly.
yeah.
So, like, I think the trick is like kind of having another thing on the side, and then like try to make as much variation in the main thing that you do to keep it interesting. So like, live events, and then I work on the bridge, and then private parties, and then commissions. Like those are all different ways to do caricature. And then another thing that I've been studying lately is graphic recording and graphic facilitation. So that's something that you could do with your company that would actually bring a lot more money in. And it's something that like you could focus on just doing those gigs and running the company. And then as far as live caricatures, your employees could do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by graphic facilitation?
Kind of like I'm assuming it's like almost like a schedule, like a like a your own little schedule that sets it up for you.
No. So if a graphic facilitator goes to businesses, and usually they work with whoever's running the business meeting. Say it's like a brainstorming meeting, or you're generating new ideas, or maybe you're like they're coming up with a strategy for a new product or a new way that they want to take the business. And you basically just put a huge piece of paper on the wall, you roll it out, and then as the meeting is going on, you're drawing all of it. You're mapping it all out like a big like visual mind map. So you use words and labels and icons, but you also use cartoons and
Uh-huh.
people and different actions and stuff. And it's actually really good money. And most of the people that are doing it, like they can't, I mean, they can draw, they can do that, but they can't really draw like a caricature artist can,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think I do.
I've been,
I think right now it might be a double-edged sword, but I feel like I'm trying to concentrate on making money for other artists right now. And
mm,
I think the double-edged sword is that I have to put down the creative box a little bit. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm experiencing right now is I'm I I can't if I don't want to be selfish and help people have opportunity, I have to let go of my selfish desire of being more creative. Um I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure. But that's what
I'm a
I'm
little
experiencing right
confused.
now for sure.
You mean that like your energy that you're spending trying to keep the business going and keep like money flowing in for the people that are working for you
Hmm.
is taking away from your time and energy to make artwork for yourself?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay actually, Like for me, I like there's been times where like, like we have those month long challenges, and I'll like every day I'll make something for a month.
Hmm.
And then I need like a couple of months like just to maybe not do something. So I think that kind of like incubation period is fine. And like right now with the motion design thing, like I'm learning stuff that I can use to create, and it's giving me a lot of ideas, but I'm not really making anything that's like that original or like anything new. I'm just learning the skills, you know. And then later I'll take that and like kind of, so I think it kind of ebbs and flows, right? I don't think we can like constantly be making something or else we get burnt out and
Yeah,
uninspired, you know?
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I just need to put down the mantle a little bit and then focus on something else and then get back to it. Maybe, I don't know.
Because you are creating, I mean, you're creating, it's not a visual art, but you're creating like a system. You're like working on a system for your business.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
I had a teacher in college like really helped me out because I wanted to start a hot dog business and I was like, but and I know like I want to do it because I want to do an entrepreneur thing, but like I'm in art school. So like how do I come to terms with that?
Hmm.
And she told me about these artists called the interventionalists, and they would have like ice cream trucks and hot dog carts and taco trucks, and they would like go out into these neighborhoods and they would like find all of this information about the people who are like voting and making decisions for their area,
Uh-huh.
and they would dig up like information that people didn't know about these people. And so in a way they were doing kind of like this performance art, but they were sneaking into neighborhoods and like informing people of like what the people in charge were doing. That's just one example, but there were other people who were like basically using food trucks and like as a cover for like their art activities and their like social activities, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when I did that, I kind of looked at it as like I tried to like put as much creativity into it as I could, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm trying to do that with the business, but I just, like I said, I'm getting this overwhelming guilt that I'm not being creative in my own way. I don't know. I think,
Guilt or
yeah,
shame. You're
yeah,
ashamed
yeah.
or you feel like you should be making something.
I feel like I should be doing that. Yeah, correct.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I know how you feel. I definitely get that feeling too. I guess I just have to, like when I get that, I just kind of ask myself like what is it that like why should I? Like what is it about like what is this thing that I feel like I feel obligated to make artwork when
Hmm.
I'm already doing all this other stuff right now, you know?
Hmm. I don't know. That's a good question.
I feel like this is a little bit heavy. Maybe we could like start wrapping up or change the topic or kind of start winding it
I'm
down
sorry.
a
I'm
little
just
bit.
in my head trying to figure it out right now. I like usually when I have a
You froze
conversation
for a
like that, I'm
second.
trying to find a solution. And I think that's why you said we're very similar. We're both trying to do that for each other because we care about each other. You want to make out?
I lo I lost you for like 3 seconds. You said something about finding always looking for a solution.
I think that's why you and me are similar because you and me are trying to figure out solutions for each other. I mean, when we first started this interview, I was like trying to figure out how to help you, and then you're now trying to figure out how to help me, and then we're just in our heads trying to process,
Yeah.
and then
Man,
smoke
I
comes
think
out of our
that
ears.
it's like, what I've been finding with my spiritual teaching and like my spiritual seeking lately is like just stop, you know? Just stop all these characters, all these things that make up our ego. Just stop what we think we're going to accomplish. Stop like what our expectations are for what we need to be okay and just be okay. Because
Hmm.
like right now, I mean, I live in an amazing apartment. I have like this awesome podcasting corner. I have a brand new Mac. I mean, aside from the material things, I have like a wife who loves me. I have friends who care about me. I have my health. It's like
Hmm.
what else do I want? Like what else do I need to be okay? You
I
know?
think that's what we've been circling around with each of these conversations that we've been having is being content with what we have. And the expectations of where we want to go with it are good, are beneficial because it progresses us. But I think that we're forming a the expectation is there's a good consequences for us progressing, and then the downside is us getting stressed out about it because we're like with me, I'm trying to feel creative, or with you with the podcast, you're trying to feel like what you're doing is beneficial for everybody watching. It's just weird how we've been having this hour-long talk this whole time, and it's just been circulating with that answer. You know,
Yeah.
that's
And
strange.
I think that there's also like one last thing I want to say on that is like people have an emotional home. And that emotional home is usually, again, back to earlier, like it's established early in life. So there's this thing that happens when people become adults. If they grew up in a family, like a poverty-stricken family, they have a hard time like getting too far out of that
Yeah.
because they feel guilty. They feel like and the other dynamic on that is a lot of times the family will make them feel guilty. Oh, you think you're so sophisticated now. Like my family said shit like that to me before too. Like, oh, you think just because you have a college degree, like you're so much smarter than we are. It's probably me telling them they should do this and should do that. But you get the idea. It's like when that like works both ways. It works with people's level of success and it works with their level of failure. It's like when it's uncomfortable getting success if all you ever grew up with was quote unquote failure or like survival mode,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like, I mean, just like, I think another thing too, I guess the last thing is like gratitude, like focusing on all of the
Yeah.
amazing stuff. Like it brings more of that amazing stuff.
Yep. That's the consequence of gratitude, is getting more so you can be more grateful.
Yeah. And also giving too, like being generous and giving. I think back to Seneca, like one of my favorite quotes from him was like, I'm going to paraphrase it and totally miss it, but basically, like people are really stingy with their property and their money, but they're really just, they give away their time. Like you know,
Oh yeah.
there's just gonna always be more of it. And it really should be the opposite. Like we should really be very stingy with how we spend our time and just totally free because well, not totally free, but there's always going to be more money, there's always going to be more property.
Mm-hmm. How have you been doing with the COVID stuff in Prague?
Um, it's just a weird thing. COVID's just weird, man. It's like warped time, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's times where something comes up like a reminder, oh, on Facebook. And it's
Yeah.
like, what? That was just last year. It feels like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Like,
does.
you mean financially or emotionally or what?
I feel like emotionally you're a little bit better
Better than what?
than you were last time we spoke.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
I
so.
know for a
Yeah.
fact I am way better emotionally than I was. I think we talked about it last time. I was really worried that I was going to fall into the trap of being, agoraphobic again, because we couldn't leave, we couldn't go anywhere, and I also thought the world was going to end. All the expectations I had to where to take this company were just put in the garbage can, um, because everything was put on a halt, and now it's like full force right now, and I'm feeling good about it. It's like everything that I thought could happen is possible. But yeah, dude, I remember last year we had that interview, and I keep telling you this, like I wasn't doing good. I mean, I watched the interview probably a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, wow, I looked like crap. I wasn't doing good.
You, oh, you could tell how you felt. Yeah.
I could tell, definitely. I mean, I think it was a
Uh,
good interview, but I think uh I could feel the pain, and I also could tell that I was like on the cusp of where I used to be like 10, 12 years ago. Just an
oh, you were
anxious
on like
mess.
on the cliff. Yeah. Getting
Yeah.
ready to fall off the cliff.
Hmm.
It's rough, dude. It's been hard, man. But I think you're right. I mean, I mean, you're better lit this time. So maybe that's why you look better.
Maybe.
But, yeah, I feel better too. I mean, I think it's because can see the light at the end of the tunnel also.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that one thing I'm gonna have to watch out for is there's so many different tunnels out there in the world. Like you can fall into any trap where you're back into a scenario like this, and it can just prevent you from succeeding. And you're just waiting for that light to come out of the tunnel, and you can literally live your whole life like that, just tunnel after tunnel. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm going to be
That's an
very,
interesting metaphor.
yeah, I want
I'm
to be
trying to
very
relate it back
cautious
to
of
my,
what I spend my time on. Like that's why I'm like when we were talking about the UFO thing, I don't want to go down that tunnel because I know that it would just be another tunnel leading to another tunnel. I just want to be very careful what I spend my time on.
yeah. I, I guess by tunnel you mean like something that you have to navigate your way through to get to the other side, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's dark and
Are,
gloomy and nasty and just
I feel like, yeah, I guess I'm trying to relate it to like my perception of things. I think that the way I kind of perceive these tunnels, I guess, are attachments, like expectations that I get attached to, or results that I expect,
hmm
or things like especially when things are good. Like when you were talking about how well the business was doing, I didn't want to piss on your Wheaties, but I was going to say don't get attached, because everything is going to change. Like
Oh
that's the
yeah.
only constant,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta appreciate what I got right now because 10 years from now, I don't know how that's gonna be. I mean, it could go really well
Well,
right now. Yeah.
the
Go ahead.
other danger of attaching is if you attach to the way it is right now, that I mean it goes both ways. Like if you attach to it and then you lose it, then you're like that attachment like drags you back down and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh fuck," like you attach your happiness to the success. But at the
Mhm.
same time, attaching ourselves to the way the situation is right now also keeps us stuck where we are right now,
Yeah.
and it doesn't allow us to grow even further. So
hmm
it's like this kind of dance or this relationship, but as soon as we like clinch our claws into whatever that situation or person is, then we're like destined for failure.
Yeah. And there's also self-sabotage with it. I don't know if you experience this, but I catch myself constantly um about to sabotage something that I've just built up and definitely being more conscious about those kinds of things because everything's good right now. I mean, we've we have great relationships with our artists, but there's parts where I could ruin it all. Like when it like for example, I get all that money that that they made. I could literally just go to Mexico and live off the grid for about a couple of months. That kind of thought pops up in my head. I hate to
Yeah.
sound like that, but I mean it's really true. It's there, but all it's doing is trying to get my brain away from this kind of responsibility that I'm feeling. And
Hmm.
I enjoy the responsibility. I really do. So I just got to be more conscious of not doing stupid stuff. I would never do that, but it's there.
It's good to know that you could.
I could. I mean that I think that's a good thing to have is knowing that you could be an absolute monster and you choose not to.
Yeah, it makes you feel better. Yeah.
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 And I think people appreciate that. I mean, most of the people that I really, really respect, I know could screw me over so bad, but they choose not to because they care. And I think that's something that people need to appreciate about other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
why do you love your wife? Your wife could destroy you. My lady could destroy me. They could just do one thing and just set me living on the streets in a little box drinking every day. They could do it.
yeah.
But that love that they have for you makes you appreciate them a whole lot more, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this thing, man, it's like the fear of success. Like I remember early on when I was sobering up and I was doing some inventory, and one of them was basically a fear list. And on the list was fear of success and fear of failure. And I was confused about the fear of success. But the thing is like, I didn't know how to handle that. No one taught me how to handle success. No one taught me how to handle money. No one taught me how to do business or any of that stuff. So like that kind of responsibility was like totally frightening to me.
Yeah.
What I was used to was like survival mode, my whole upbringing. So it was like, what am I going to do if I get success, And that still probably holds me back today even, Just like I think another part of it too is like you said, like this urge to fucking destroy, to burn it down. Like
Yeah.
I had it when COVID was happening. Like there was days where like I thought like I'm going to go blow that building up. Like I really wanted to see
Yeah.
something explode and melt down, because I was just so, I don't know, man. I don't know where that comes from. Lack of stimulation, probably.
Maybe. Yeah. You get resentful. Definitely. And then it's especially when you're doing really well. I find myself when I start doing really well, I want to sabotage it. It's like I don't want to climb up the mountain anymore because I don't want to reach the peak because there's a peak, you know?
Yeah. And then what happens when you reach the peak?
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know if there ever is a peak though.
I know. That's the thing. But my brain tells me, hey, there's a peak up there. You should go get some cocaine and hookers and start a gambling side hustle, And it's just
Well,
like I could just ruin all of that.
it gets more, the thing about success though is like success ultimately usually means like some semblance of stability. Like you got your finances in order, you got your business in order, you have a plan laid out. Like, so when you're building to the success, it's like, what's going to happen? There's this excitement. And then when you get to the management stage of it, it's like, I'm bored. Like,
Yeah.
let's go skydiving or something,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want to promote something?
Uh
Buy a house from AJ
yeah, you
if you're in
could.
the
If you
Sugar
if
Hill
you're
area.
thinking about moving to Georgia, wanting to be a caricature artist in Georgia, I'll hire you because I need more artists, and I will buy you a house if you have the money and the finances. Definitely do that
And
for you.
replace your air conditioning unit.
I could do that too.
He'll do all three of those things for you.
I can. I could do more, but that costs extra.
Tantric massage.
I have an actually badass foot massage method that I can give anybody, but only my lady can get that. And
Does
if
it
you
end?
want one, then you gotta give me something. Oh
Does it end with you sucking my toes?
no, I'm not that nasty.
I'm not into it
I
then.
have morals.
Oh, I got a story about that. We'll save
Sucking
that
toes?
next. Next interview. We'll talk about Scientology and toe sucking.
There we go. That's a good conversation. Oh,
That'll be the name of the episode too. What should we name this episode? Two eggheads ramble on about what they think philosophy is for 2 hours.
I think what was I saying that we kept on circulating throughout the whole conversation?
Oh, the need for unconditional love and security.
Well, that was one, and then there was also the how the expectation of the expectation is beneficial, but it's also detrimental because you can concentrate on the detrimental side. You remember we were talking. That was pretty much what everything that we were discussing. It was weird.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that part and like extract the title from that.
Yeah, I have faith in you. How do you feel like this went?
At least somebody does. You what?
How do you feel like this went?
Yeah, it was good. I'm glad. It was good. Especially, I appreciate the feedback and yeah, the encouragement to just speak and just like talking freely is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
get
gonna
it,
try to
man. I
keep it
get
a
that.
little.
I
Say
I
again.
get I get that like validation part, trying to get fuel from other people. And I mean, it's good to have and it's good to look forward to, but I think that you need to concentrate. I think, I should say that. Not you should. I think you should I fucked it up.
In my
I think
opinion,
that it would be beneficial for you to concentrate more on why you wanted to do this whole thing in the beginning, and let's just talk to people. I think that's a good idea because you're good at it. You should.
thanks, bro.
You're welcome, buddy.
Cool, man. Well, are you going to Las Vegas?
Probably not.
Oh yeah, is it a time thing or is it a money thing?
It's that consequence of trying to give people, opportunity and working, and then,
Why would that stop you from a 5-day conference, though?
I'm literally calling about 20 people each day about these caricature jobs and trying to figure stuff out for them. So, I mean, I could
Oh,
maybe take a break, but also the real estate stuff, man, is ridiculous right now. Oh my gosh.
oh, you're doing well with it. You're busy with it.
Very busy. Very
You
busy.
know, Kate and we have a friend here who's got done very well with crypto, and he wants to like we're talking about buying a house in Italy. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
$1 houses.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about doing that, and basically he's gonna fund the project for 2 houses, and then we'll do the work to renovate them, and then we'll keep one of them, and he keeps the other.
That'd be
So
cool.
yeah, man, have a nice little Italian home by the seaside in a old town historic village.
Where are you thinking about doing it in Italy?
Probably as far south as I can go and as closest to the water as I can go. So that way in the winter we can fly out of Prague and just live in Italy for the winter because the winter sucks in Prague.
Yeah,
So
that'd be cool. Do you think you'll ever move back over here?
yeah, I mean that's a possibility. But now we have the baby on the way. That's kind of the biggest thing that we have
Yeah,
in front of us right now. So,
yeah,
and also like whatever the hell I'm gonna do for a job. I mean, I'm gonna keep working on the bridge, but I have a couple of different things that directions that I might go in right now.
yeah.
So,
Do you feel like you're spreading yourself too thin at times?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
same.
It's really hard not to do that, whenever you don't have something that's like generating a lot of income.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy when I was on the bridge, it was easy because it was good income and it kept me busy all day. And now it's like, now I know the basics of motion graphics. So that's something I'm interested in and excited about. So, and then, yeah, all the other stuff that I'm learning. And
Yeah.
then we were starting that Sketcharium thing too, the online art school.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
still interested in that and have to think about it.
it,
Definitely.
yeah, it's on pause right now, but we're gonna get back to it soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could always record the course and upload it, and we'll use it whenever we launch. But as far as like me being active with it right now, we're not doing anything with it right now.
I got you. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool.
AJ Jensen, everyone. Alien Eyes, Mr. Eyes.
I appreciate you having me on here, bud.
Yeah, man.
There's fun. I love it.
I'm gonna
Oh,
let you get going. It's been a
yeah,
long,
I gotta
long
get some
talk.
food, man. I'm getting hungry. All this
All right.
thinking.
All this thinking, yeah. All
I'm
right,
just
well,
thinking you
it's
up
great
so
to
long.
chat with you, man. For real, it's
Yeah,
really good to reconnect with you. We haven't talked in a year, so
no, I mean we talked a little bit, but not that long. Not that much. I mean, we talked a little bit at Iska and then, the
oh
barbecue.
yeah, and on the barbecue,
Yeah. But
just a quick chat.
yeah. But this is more intimate. It's better.
Intimate.
All right, buddy. I will talk to you soon. Hit me up if you need me for anything. All right, brother?
Love you, brother.
See you, buddy.
Bye bye.